Hello, everyone. Well, we're back again to I Want to Talk Movies, and today we're gonna want to talk. It's kind of a bonus episode, so we really want to get into Stranger Things. We've been meaning to do this for a while,
Yes,
but
the Stranger the Things.
the Strangers of Things. But yeah, we're gonna start out with a question, and we're not gonna do what we've been watching segment because we really want to get more into depth about Stranger Things, and there's a lot to talk about. So I figured, why not use all our time to talk about that?
Innovative.
Yeah. Something new, but yeah. Cool. So, as we all know, Stranger Things, one of the coolest things about the show is that we get these really cool creatures in it. So, I'm going to ask you guys today, what is your favorite creature created? So, I'm going to go first because I don't know, I got excited when I thought about this, but for some reason, I like the Predator creature.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because he's just scary and a badass at the same time. Not that I more of like just his solo movies, but I didn't really like the Alien vs Predator movies. But he was still kind of a badass. But that such cool technology and just like their way of I don't know, just they're hunters and they always want to hunt what is the strongest thing. So it's scary as fuck.
Yeah, it's a cool motivation behind the whole character.
Well, I mean, what I love most about the Predator is, it hides behind a mask.
The mask
whole
is so
time,
cool.
right? And it's just it's like this cool Jamaican ninja, and then all of a sudden it takes its face off. It's like, holy shit, that's an ugly ass creature.
What's Arnold's line?
You're one ugly motherfucker.
Yes. There we go.
I think that's it.
Yeah, but it's just, he seems like a really fun, creative and scary creature. So I feel like if I had to pick a creature, I think he's been one of my favorite creatures that we've seen on screen.
Yeah.
But out of creatures and well-known creatures, Patrick has a long list of. I'm wondering if he could. I don't know. Maybe I should let Drew go first because I feel like you're still thinking.
I want Pat. Let's go to Patrick.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
I want to pick 3 if that's okay, but I'll try to be short on
That's
at least
fine.
2 of them.
Go for it.
Give it
So
to
I
us.
guess all-time favorite, it should be noticeable by now, is Godzilla.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, there's Godzilla stuff around the apartment.
I never
where
noticed.
So I love more than CGI is probably my least favorite of creature renditions, but I love costumes and puppets and stuff.
Effects are always
And
the best
just
way.
just the crazy Godzilla stuff is cool. I have to give props to the CGI Godzilla though, the most recent one, blanking on the Shin Godzilla. It's such a creepy,
so good,
creepy guy.
Yeah.
But I just love all the monsters and just the outfits stomping on stuff.
That's a pretty deep roster of monsters.
Then I guess my next maybe favorite costume is Alien.
Nice.
And if you guys don't know, Alien is based off of penises. It's a whole phallical design. His head was originally going to be a giant dick, actually, and that's what his little mouth was going to be too. He was. I think the artist's name is H.R. Geiger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
And so he was this giant, beautiful, gross, giant penis monster thing, and that's why he penetrates. It's all penetration. It's all a theme.
Sense. Okay.
And it's so amazing that this one creature is just based off of our genitalia, and it's fucking creepy ass creature too.
Very scary,
it's so beautiful but yet so scary at the same time. It's very slick, and it's, oh my gosh, it's great. But my favorite probably CGI creatures has to be from Starship Troopers. I love the bugs.
Damn, those are good ones.
That movie's one of my favorite movies.
That's a classic.
And it's so great, but I love the bugs. I think that was way ahead of its time. Stupid freaking Titanic had to beat it in special effects or something like that. So it's
I remember being
God
so
damn.
grossed out by how real some of the stuff was.
Yeah, it was
some of the
amazing.
stuff was practical too.
Yeah.
Because I just remember one of the character jumping on with a beetle bug or whatever and just shooting it just orange
he
crap flying out.
shoots and then shoves a grenade in it and
Yeah.
jumps off, and then the whole beetle board.
It's a great action scene.
It's a good one. I just,
But
oh, man.
yeah, those are my picks.
Cool. Very cool. All right, Drew.
All right. I also have a top three. So this one is kind of like the epitome of practical effects for me, but it has so many forms. I don't know if I can count it as one kind of creature, and it's the alien from The Thing, John Carpenter's
Yeah,
The Thing.
that's a good one.
Because it's constantly changing shape, and that's
Yeah.
kind of it's more of a conceptually scary creature. Because I mean, the stuff it turns into is terrifying, but you can't like pin it down as
Yeah,
like one.
it's like a virus.
yeah,
Or like
exactly.
Yeah,
it's like it's some parasitic
takes over a host. Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Parasite is probably the best way. To put it.
Yeah, and I mean just the practical effects and every
I
kind.
don't
every
think we ever
scene
see
with
the
that.
quote unquote true form of the thing.
I mean, it's strange. Like, is there even a true form to it, or
Yeah.
is it does it solely survive within?
Is it
other
a
people?
ghost?
Yeah,
We don't know.
Yeah, so just the guy's head comes off and crawls away. I love that.
Yeah, that
it's so
part's
good.
one of the best parts.
So
of that
good.
Whole movie.
And so for my second, it is the Hulk dogs from The Incredible Hulk.
That one is a good one. I wouldn't have thought about that.
I just remember that scene vividly from.
That's the
a
only
kid
scene
watching.
that I can remember from
and
that movie.
The Hulk fights 3 dogs that have also been turned into Hulks, and it's hilarious. One of them's like a poodle. It's so funny.
This is the one with Eric Bana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the bad Hulk.
Yeah,
I like.
so bad.
I
So bad.
I erased that out of my mind. I think. No, I
So
think
bad,
that-
but I loved those Hulk dogs. And then probably my favorite creature design is a Godzilla monster. Actually, it is a Biollante.
Yeah, Violante is one of my favorites.
I
too.
love like plant monsters, and I love that kind of theme.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Injustice, I play Swamp Thing. Like,
Right.
It's solely because I love plant monsters.
It's so unfair. Okay.
Shallow waters.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But they just did such a good job of. Because there's kind of an easy trope there. You do the Little Shop of Horrors, like big Venus flytrap kind of looking thing.
Yeah.
That's a fun
But
one,
they
too.
they put like enough of a twist on it while still keeping it within that. I just love it, and it turns into like a big flower at the end, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite Godzilla monsters, if not my favorite Godzilla monster, besides the man himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'd be my number one pick. But
Wow.
other ones get honorable
Godzilla made
mentions.
2 lists.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the classic
Yeah.
creatures, so you have
talk
to
about-
pay his
talk about,
respect.
like, kaiju.
He's probably like on the top,
Yeah.
he's usually probably in top 10 of like most people's like favorite
Yeah.
creatures.
I was gonna think of something from Pacific Rim, but the classics.
Yeah.
won
I mean,
out.
Godzilla is what inspired
Oh,
Pacific
yeah.
Rim.
Absolutely.
Which I'm excited for the second one.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
what's going
So,
on.
Get to see
Like
big.
Charlie Hunnam or whatever's not in it though.
Charlie Day?
No,
Whatever.
no,
Or whatever the main.
Charlie Day isn't it? But I forgot his name.
I thought his name was Charlie also.
His name is also Charlie.
The
main
protagonist
dude.
from
but- yeah,
okay.
he's not in it.
Looks like he's gone.
Yeah, it's
But like everyone else is in it though.
Michael
Yeah.
Finn. Is that his name from Star Wars?
Yeah,
Is that his name?
Finn from Star Wars.
Something Finn. It's something
Yeah.
Finn.
Yeah, he's gonna be the protagonist in the new Pacific Rim.
Oh, I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so we all have seen every episode of Stranger Things, and
Yep.
I think let's go for what our our impressions of it before we get into before we dissect it.
Okay.
I really loved it. I enjoyed every bit of it. I think it stayed strong from the first season. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're thematically different, but so like the first one, it's all about mystery,
Yeah.
right? And because you have no idea what's going on, and just the Demogorgon's presence is enough mystery. And in the second one, like that, the Upside Down, the monster, so they create that mystery through like diving into that world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one kid becomes a part of it. Like, they have to like actually explore through it. There's like oh, the Demogorgon didn't start off as a giant beast. We're learning more things about this world, and I thought that was a really cool way to kind of keep that mystery going, but at the same time not like go back to square one like in the first season.
Right. How about you, Patrick?
Yeah, I think the second one did a good job of expanding off the first one. I still prefer the first season more, which is, I think, weird for me because I prefer to see as many creatures as humanly possible, which the first one doesn't really do, but I guess what I enjoy about Stranger Things the most is just the kids kind of figuring out, themselves / the problem at the same
Right.
time, which there wasn't as much of that in this season. There's this season really split off more on an individual basis. We got to figure out more about the other kids more. Like Lucas had a lot more spotlight, and so did Dustin and the kid that got
Will?
and Will.
Yeah,
like
it's
they
nice to
all
actually
had their
see
kind of
them.
almost their own storylines,
Yeah.
whereas it was really just is it Mike or Finn?
Mike.
Yeah.
Finn Wolfhard is.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah,
okay. That's
yeah,
his actual
Wolfhard
name.
is- yeah.
But yeah, like Mike got a lot less spotlight than he did, which is fine. But
Yeah.
it almost felt more group dynamic-y
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
first season to me, anyways.
For sure.
Yeah, it felt a lot more balanced
Yeah.
between the characters.
Yeah. And like, but yeah, I feel like the Duffer Brothers did their thing again with this season. But I agree with you. We definitely didn't see as much as some characters that we did for others, but I'm kind of glad that they expanded on some of the other characters. Like, man, Will this season, that kid,
That poor kid gets the shit kicked out of him every season. God damn.
I like my respect for him because he could like act and cry on the spot and everything that he goes through. Like, man, I'm trying to figure out his name. It's Noah Schnaps or whatever. I can't say his last name.
Schnapps?
Yeah, Schnaps. Yeah, but man, he can act.
Yeah. No, he's good. I mean,
But-
he had more reign, because he's a pretty subdued character.
Yeah.
And then, when he gets, spoilers ahead, when he when he gets like infected and starts like getting controlled and is like betraying people
Yeah.
and like getting angry and like there's a
The
definitely
spy.
there's definitely a
Spy.
range of just like personality difference that he was good at. It was
Yeah.
a good. He displayed the change
Yeah.
very well. That's what I'm trying
I
to say.
feel like he's almost like one of the strongest characters in the shows in these shows because every time he gets like taken over, he's always able to communicate
Yeah.
to everyone
Yeah.
somehow. Like he always finds a way
Yeah.
to help out, even though he's like should be useless or he's like evil. Like it's like how much willpower does he have? Like, I think a lot of people underestimate how strong he is because he's always like the quote
victim.
unquote the victim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he always overcomes the quote unquote bully in a sense. Sure, he needs help, but he overcomes these insurmountable odds to do the things he actually does.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that, but when you put it into words, that's so true. He's-
Well, let's dive in. Let's just get
yeah.
spoilers and go per each episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, in the first episode, we
Huh?
actually get introduced to a new character.
Yep.
They call her Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Maxine.
I liked the addition. I think she was a great character to add. Also a great actor. So I think I liked how this led to like a little love triangle thing that we see later on in the season.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of like the whole like arcade? Like I love the whole arcade scene and like stay true to like the kids. Like
I thought it was a great way to introduce her to the group. Kind of establish that she's one of them without them actually having her in the group yet. So
I saw it as a parallel to the D&D because they just didn't want to reuse the whole D&D thing from they did from
Yeah,
the
it's
first
actually-
season.
interesting.
That's
So
a
I
good
saw it
catch.
as a
Good
like
catch.
they're still nerds and they still do this stuff, but as Drew was saying, it's also a good way to tie in Maxine and like how they have similarities and stuff like that. So.
Very cool. So another thing I want to talk about, just
Sure,
because like
good
it's
point,
jumping
yeah.
around, because like just the opening act too, like we see this of new characters. The first act we see like this person that we don't know, in this really cool chase scene. And by the way, like you can see how that like I think Patrick you pointed it out that that Stranger Things got a higher budget this season.
Clearly.
It was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
obvious.
And so they had a really cool like chase scene, and I'm like, all right, like who are these characters? And then all of a sudden, like we see that like this random girl tricked this guy into getting into a car to like for them to run away.
Yep.
The whole tunnel thing,
Yeah.
and that was kind of trippy, but it was cool because then again led to the whole mystery thing. Like, oh crap, there's more than like art from the beginning. There's
Yeah, because
more.
you see her tattoo in that time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Actually,
you
it's
see her
the
tattoo
9 or
and the nosebleed.
8.
8, I
Eight.
think.
Okay.
I have to say that turned me off a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was
That opening scene or the episode dealing with her?
the opening scene and the episode.
Okay.
So the opening scene, I mean, it was cool, and like it definitely got me thinking about, 8 through 11, 1 through 11, all the other kids that were in there. But at the same time, it didn't. It just didn't feel like it fit in with what I had come to understand Stranger Things as.
Yeah.
Stranger Things was a mystery in a small town, and it was not like self-contained, but I don't know. It felt very grounded for what it was.
Right.
And this felt more like an action movie, kind of
Yeah.
tacked onto it. So I mean, it's cool what they're doing, and I respect that, but it just felt a little strange to me to have that right away like that.
I was fine with the opening scene because that just proved the fact that there were more, like 11.
Well, I think that's the point you got to draw from it.
Sure.
Yeah,
It-
and that I think is cool. That's I'm
But
really into.
I have to agree with you that I think it was episode 7 or
Yeah,
8.
we'll
It was
get-
the second to last
Yeah, we'll get
episode,
into
I
it.
think.
It was the
But it was
third to
the
last.
most
Yeah.
awkward
Weird.
of the episodes.
because it stood
weird.
out. It stood out compared to all the
Well,
others.
sure, it did stand out,
Yeah.
but it derailed from the whole storyline in a
Okay.
sense. We can
we'll-
talk about it
we'll
when we
get to that.
Yeah, okay.
I got some,
But yeah,
I got
keep that
some
in mind. 'Cause I
choice
definitely want
words
to touch
for
that topic
episode.
again, for sure. But yeah, so we get a good introduction episode. We get we have Jonathan and Nancy trying to talk to Barbara's parents because of like to confess her death and stuff, and
because everyone was
'Cause,
complaining.
yeah,
about
everyone
why
was complaining.
No, there's no justice for Barb.
Who?
so yeah, and then
Barb.
I think the episode ended really cool with like we learn that Will has these visions, and we see like the first glimpse of like the shadow monster appear.
The big guy.
The big shadow monster. But yeah, that was pretty much over. So we know. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see that first opening episode. Now season 2. I'm sorry, episode 2, Trick or Treat. That was a fun episode. We get to see that Eleven's actually alive and living with Hopper in his
Yep.
grandfather's cabin.
Their dynamic is very awesome.
I
Yeah.
loved the relationship in
super.
this season.
Super.
If it wasn't for their relationship, I don't think I would have nearly enjoyed this season as much as I did. Because I felt like the boys were kind of lacking compared to like what happened last season.
Okay.
But the relationship between Hopper and 11 is just like that kind of it just felt so real,
Right.
like it, it's I think like even in the bonus show they're like talking about how it's like a clashing of powers, you got
Oh, yeah,
11
yeah.
and then you got Hopper who's like this already very dominant
Hard-headed,
figure,
yeah.
so they're just like they're kind of almost meant to be in a sense.
Yeah, and at the same time though, they have such conflicting aspects,
Yeah.
but they're also kind of perfect for each other.
Mhm.
So it's a really good mesh.
Yeah.
What else have? I love how they still do some funny bits. Like in this episode, we get to see how even more nerdy that these boys are because they all wear like the Ghostbuster outfits and like so they all get taking pictures and getting ready, and then all of a sudden they show up to school, and then I think it's Dusty. He like turns around and he's like, guys. How come no one else is wearing costumes? It's the greatest thing. So like these 4 characters are just like running around their school dressed
Yeah.
up.
They're
It's
the
just,
only ones.
yeah, only one dressed up, and it was just a really cool just to see how much of a kids they are and like how nerdy, and it's just great. Like I wish I probably would have been one of them dressing up at that age and like embarrassing myself.
Oh yeah.
what is it? So what else happens in this? So I guess we kind of see Eleven's story develop more too. She's getting home. She's like homesick, and she like tries to reach out to Mike at some point too. I kind of find their relationship pretty cute as well.
It just shows how much they love each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Young love. Everyone loves young love.
Young love.
Let's go. But now we get to see. It's cool because then now I think in this episode too we get to see like more of Will's character develop too, like how he's treated in like the public, and now they call him like what is it, zombie
boy.
Zombie boy.
Yeah.
We figure out we call him zombie like and.
Well, he's getting bullied for, a very traumatic thing that's happened to him.
How cruel is that though, man? Just like
People are the lesson of this episode is people are dicks. I think that's what we can pull from this one.
And so we start to learn. I guess like we learn that every time there's a like some kind of stressor for Will, like that he like kind of bounces into like the upside down
He
world.
hulks out. Yeah.
Yeah.
He ran away and cried in the corner. That's the lamest Hulk I've ever heard of.
And but yeah, he like gets bullied and he gets stressed out, and then again we see like the shadow monster again pop up. But like the kids again like being dicks. And speaking of that, like we also meet Billy. Who
I was
is,
about to say Sean Astin.
Yeah, no,
My boy.
Sean. No, Billy's the brother. Max's older brother. Bob is Sean
Bob
Astin.
Damn.
But we also meet Bob in this episode. And
Yeah, okay, that's it.
The lower brain.
Yeah, I'm not. I gotta say, I'm a little confused about this whole dynamic with this asshole guy and the sister. That I feel like there was not a whole lot of resolution to the things that were said between them.
Right.
Like, it's your fault we're here. Why?
Well, I don't think we really need to know yet. Like, that's something that, like, that's.
You think
there's
it's gonna
a lot
be,
of stuff
you think
that's
it's gonna be
happened.
divulged in a later season?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Because it's like we didn't get to know a lot about the other characters in the first season. It was really almost all Mike.
Yeah,
that
true,
we learned
true.
about, and 11 in a sense, and then the other characters got to get expanded. So this is just other characters that we get to figure out more.
Okay,
in the next
all right.
season. So I thought that was.
I'll
fun,
buy that.
Personally.
Yeah. And then as like we start to learn more of like what's going around, like with Hopper, he runs into like this pumpkin fields that like these pumpkins are like infected or gross.
Yeah, they're dying.
So they're dying.
Disgusting.
So, yeah. So we start to figure that out, and then again it goes back to like the relationship between him and 11, where he promises that he's gonna be home at a certain hour to like and eat candy and watch a movie. Mm-hmm. So it's like a real like. It just felt that relationship just felt more real again. Just to touch on that again. Just like
for such for like the one supernatural character in the show, she definitely has the most grounded like character interactions with it's the father figure forgetting to come home and missing the promise to like watch a movie and have Halloween candy. Like that's a very like real grounded thing to have happen to how old is 14, 13 in this? 10, 12?
I don't remember.
8, 2? I don't know. 30?
They have their dance, right? Is it
they're
middle school or is it
middle school dance? I think they're like 8th graders.
Freshmen? Are they 8th graders?
They're 8th graders, I'm pretty sure.
I forgot if they're freshmen.
I think they're like 14, 13, I think is the age.
Okay.
I want to say they're middle schoolers though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But then they also another part of this episode too, we get to see more of the relationship between Nancy and Steve, where Nancy's character gets super drunk and tells Steve that she doesn't love him, and that was kind of
just not that into you.
just not. But then end of the episode, we see two more things. We see that what's it called? That 11 is just trying to still contact Mike, but we see at the end of the episode it was a really cool cutoff part. We see Dustin like sees something like rattling in his garbage bin, and it just cuts off, and then we get the Ghostbusters song at the end. But
always a great thing to hear.
yeah.
Pollywog.
Which the next episode is called Pollywog. So yeah, we figure out so now we're in the third episode, Pollywog. We get to see that Dustin actually like adopted this like little
So gross.
Tadpole.
Like
Who
a
would pick that
tadpole.
up? I wouldn't touch that. I don't know. What
He
you
was
guys,
so
but-
excited, but like, what teenage kid would not be excited to like? Oh my god, this is a thing I want to keep and like feed and.
What the fuck's wrong with you? Why would you pick up like a horrible slug-looking thing that has sharp teeth?
It didn't have sharp teeth when it.
It had sharp teeth. It had a little mouth.
Patrick,
with
it had sharp
little
teeth.
sharp
I'm
teeth.
pretty sure it actually
Tiny
has
sharp
sharp
teeth.
Well,
Like that looked like it could like
I
burrow
missed
through
that.
you. Like,
I missed that detail.
yeah, I mean that thing was gross, man. It was designed to look gross. It was, it was not good.
Well,
Hated that thing.
he
Just
ended up.
touching it and-
They ended up calling him Dart. I
Yeah,
think.
for D'Artagnan.
Yeah. D'Artagnan.
Three Musketeers reference.
Yep.
Yep. So in this particular episode, we see what do we see? So there's an interesting conversation between Bob and Will that's in the car, and
And Bob's introduced in this episode?
no, he was
Bob?
he's been introduced
Yeah.
from episode 1,
Oh, okay.
but we get to see
Glanced
his.
over that a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, Sean Astin has a character, Bob, who is like this corny, like
Love
Goofy,
him. Goober.
yeah, lovable goober.
But I think what Patrick, you and I were talking like we were asking each other, do we trust this character?
Yeah,
he
because
has-
there's a whole very controversial scene. I think I don't know if it's in this episode or episode 4, but
it's
I
the
know.
scene, the car scene.
Okay, so yeah, when he's giving advice to Will,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really know if he's like on the creature's side because like the music is like you
pretty
just
foreboding. It's-
yeah. So you really don't know if he just doesn't know what's going on. You're confused if he doesn't know what he's going on, or if he's trying to convince Will to give his soul up to the monster.
I know,
like it was really weird. Like they even talk about it in the bonus episode. They're like. That came off as if Bob was gonna be a bad guy.
It did. Like I watched it with my family. We're all like, he must work for the agency
Yeah,
or something.
that's what
He's
I
got to
was
be some
saying,
like
too.
deep mole, like
Exactly.
way undercover with Winona Ryder.
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
he's yeah.
but
Because, yeah, I
turns
feel
out
like
he was just giving good-natured advice.
Yeah, he did.
And we're all assholes for trying to light on this.
Yeah.
But so have that, and then 11's been like she feels pretty stuck at the cabin.
Uh-huh.
So I think in this episode we see her actually leave, and she goes.
Oh, that's just okay.
Yeah, because I think in the same episode, Dustin brings the polywag, right, and they like are
that's-
to the school, right, and I think it like gets loose in that episode, and I think she runs into the school too and sees like Mike and Max like
Yeah.
kind of like
Flirting.
flirting in a sense.
She's
but,
flirting with him.
But
Mike's
he's
like,
Mike's
"Get
like
away from me."
Yeah, Mike's like get
Well,
away.
he
from me.
starts laughing as she's
That's
walks
true.
in.
And he's like, and so he gets to
I-
saw 11 and just gets straight up jealous and like.
I think that's a little bogus. I gotta say.
Yeah, to be
I think
honest,
I think that was a little bit of.
I
fan
was
service.
too because I thought it was bogus too because it's like I was thinking about it. It's like okay, sure, like maybe she would get jealous, but she's also lived in like a world where she hasn't like really dealt with people yet. We haven't seen her deal with another girl her age.
That's
yet,
true.
so it was weird that she got jealous, like
the first interaction.
and we
is
figure
that.
out later that she Mike calls her every night, and she knows Mike tries to talk to her every night. So it's like why didn't
I know she broke out of the cabin. She went all the way to the school.
That was I thought that scene was a little upsetting too.
I think it was just for.
It was all.
It was a little fan
just to
service kind of thing.
it's just to expand the
yeah,
story and just give another,
Yeah.
like
It just.
Sorry.
It just. I don't think it gelled well with my personal, opinion of 11's emotional range
Yeah.
at that point.
Right, but I guess like was Patrick saying like this is their first time experiencing all of these
Yeah.
emotions, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Very true. Very true.
it could just burst out any moment, whatever it can. So later we see that I guess like they're recording like the trick or treaters, right? Like, when all the guys went trick or treating,
Oh. Yeah.
they catch like the bullies like bullying Will, but then like the camera falls, and somehow like in the back of the image they catch like you see like the shadow monsters like
it's
figure.
like static in the
Yeah,
back
it's
of it.
static.
And that's, I gotta say, that scene reminded me of the first season so much. Like when the lights were lighting up and when Noah Ryder's like, I got that like frantic look. She's coloring in all over it, and like that's what I love. That's one of those ones where I got like goosebumps as I'm watching it. It's like, oh, because the whole time they think, oh, Will, it's in your head, it's PTSD, you're just stressed out, and now she's like, oh shit, it's on the video camera.
Yeah.
This is the exact same shape that he's been drawing.
Right.
And like that just gave me goosebumps. Like I love that. Like when she's in the first season when she's sitting in that little cupboard, she's like, Will, can you hear me? And the Christmas light bundle lights up. She's like,
Oh
two
my
blinks
God.
for yes or no, and it's like blink, blink.
Yeah, it was
And then,
so cute.
Oh my god! And then when it says run and all that, I loved that.
It
And
was
so
great.
that I felt like was a great scene. That was a really good scene.
So yeah, because I think at this point too, like I didn't mention it earlier, but like in the other episodes, they taking Will to like the psychiatrist, who was actually like the doctor who works in like the lab.
Yeah.
It's not an actual like psychiatrist. They're like, or I'm not. If we don't really know, right? We just know that he works for like the lab.
Yeah, he
he's-
works for the bad guy, quote unquote, corporation.
Yeah, I guess it's under new management. And,
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, who would be better equipped to deal with this kind of situation than them?
Yeah.
So
But then, so now in the fourth episode, it's called Will the Rise. Will the Rise is what it's called. We actually get to learn more what's going on with him because one thing that we didn't mention that I should have mentioned in the last episode, that Will actually tries to confront the monster, just like what Bob mentioned. And so, like at the end of it, like he runs, right? Because he like after trick or treating, he just straight up runs to the middle of the field, and then the shadow monster catches up with him, and it just like.
Well, he
upset.
decides to confront the shadow monster,
Yeah.
but
the shadow
And,
monster just is like, okay, and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's like
goes in
lets-
through his
lets
eyes,
himself
nose,
in.
mouth, and ears, and it's terrifying.
But going into the fourth episode, now we start to learn like how it's affecting Will, and so
Yeah.
like his body hates heat as they're trying to like, because that was a cool thing. I'm glad that like they didn't like tell us like what's wrong. Like we have to like learn as they go. Like
Yeah.
okay, he hates heat, or like now Will is kind of like being kind of controlled and like won't want to do this or whatever. So that's kind of interesting to see. In this particular episode too, we actually 11 returns to the cabin and Hopper and her have like their huge battle. In a sense,
Yeah.
that was scary because like he tries to ground her because like there's two power plays, right?
Yeah.
There's Hopper trying to be the father figure and saying you're grounded, and then there's 11 who's like, hey buddy, I got psychic powers, like let's go toe to toe or whatever.
well, they're
But then-
both used to being in charge,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're just.
But then at the same time, Hopper's like, okay, no TV for a month now.
Right,
It's
right.
like, can't use psychic powers in the house. Like, it's like a really funny. It was almost kind of comical like that.
It
would,
was
like,
comical.
She would like send the bookcase over, and he's
yeah.
like, all right, no TV ever. That's great.
I just look because out of everyone, I feel like Hopper would be the one to like be able to like handle 11 to a certain extent.
Didn't give a shit
well, he's
about
already
herself.
gone through hell
Yeah.
and back, so it's
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. So that was great to see, just to like even more get into the relationship about it. In this episode, also we kind of see Nancy and Jonathan get try to like. I'm not sure. Like their part of the story was kind of confusing to me of what they were doing.
Is this where they? Set
Oh,
up
they're
fake-
trying to
Yeah,
like.
like they get a confession, like trying to get a confession or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that to just like expose like against to do with like Bard's death and like saying this corporation.
Yeah, I mean they're both kind of fed up with hiding.
Yeah, they don't want to
Bard's
keep
death.
the secret anymore
Yeah.
because they're all. What
They know
they're
the truth.
Yeah, they know the truth, and
Right,
they're
right.
keeping the secret because the corporation will hurt them or something.
Bad things.
Yeah, bad things will happen if they spill the juice. So
Spill the juice.
And they get caught in this episode, and they actually like it's funny how it worked out because like the people like take them and they go to the lab like, hey guys, no, this is what we're doing, so here you go.
I thought that was a great like threat, not threat. And he's like, we'll do whatever it takes to keep these things from spreading, just like rumors. And then they just take a flamethrower to the
Yes.
weeds, and then he's just like, anything it takes. And he's just like, no, okay, got it. Like,
Man, we get to see more of Billy and Max's relationship too, where like Billy just hates everyone. So kind of like we get
He
tells
was the most unlikable character
He
of
was.
2017. I'm calling it.
calling it.
Calling it here.
Yeah, I liked how everyone thought that what's his name? The old boyfriend of
Steve.
Steve, yeah, was the douchebag. And I'm like, no, he was never a douchebag, in the first season. Everyone's like, he's a douchebag. I'm like, no, he's not. And then here we get straight douche without bag, it's just,
Right.
dookie.
Right.
Like, this guy is a douchebag.
Oh my God.
Go back to school,
Yeah.
learn what a douchebag
That guy,
is.
oh my god, that guy is such a dick.
Yeah.
I hate that guy so much.
You're right, because we're seeing that Lucas is now interested in Max. Like, there's a little thing going on because he wants
Yeah,
to
and
he wants to
Dustin.
include her and Dustin. They want to include her, and like Lucas more than anyone wants to include
Yeah.
her into the group. And
Okay, first of all, the interactions between the three of them when they're inviting her to go trick or treating.
oh yeah.
Just hilarious.
It's
Just,
great.
you're treating, right? And what does she call Dustin that he confuses for? It's like deplorable or something, and he's like, "That's good, right?" And what do he?
Oh.
What does she call
I
him?
don't
Something.
remember.
Well, she says the word correctly.
Oh, she said that's awfully assumptuous of you or something.
Yeah.
When he's like, "Cause you want to go trick or treating with us, right?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm presumptuous." Or I can't remember what he said. And Lucas is just like, "Dude."
Yeah, that's not what it
Yeah.
means. Kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so that's real cute seeing all that.
What else happens in this?
This is episode 4 or 5?
This is episode 4.
4.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what happens in. Right, and this is what happens in episode 4. So now in episode 5, Dig Dug, we actually see that we get introduced that there's tunnels, right? And so Hopper actually in episode 5, which is called Dig Dug, goes into the tunnels, and so where we see him pretty much. I thought he was gonna die, or I was worried about him not to die because it's freaking Hopper. But he gets touched by vines, and I think the coolest thing about this episode was we get to see how the map played out because I think Joyce, Winona Ryder's character, she started doing all this freaking got Will to draw everything out to communicate. Mm-hmm. So we saw Will just paper from paper, just drawing out all these parts.
Well, he's drawing out what he calls his now memories, which
Right.
is like his hive mind connection to the shadow monster.
And it's funny because and then in this episode, she puts it together, and they start building a map around the whole house. I think my
we
favorite.
don't know it at the time that it's a map.
We don't know it.
Well,
and not
I
until
knew.
Well, they don't know.
Yeah,
they don't know,
Winona
but not
Ryder
until good old Bob comes in and he's like, oh, this is
This is the lake.
Bob the Brain.
Yeah, Bob the Brain, yeah.
Bob did more for solving these mysteries and helping everyone than anyone else did in the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Besides 11 in the climactic episode, that's Bob was the man.
Yeah. I think the kids were able to piece together the stuff Bob didn't know because he wasn't around for the first season,
Yeah.
so he didn't know a lot of the creature stuff.
But for not
Yeah,
being
but
around
for
all
being in the
that,
dark,
he's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, we're gonna triangulate this position. He's about a half mile from here. It's perfect. We need to go. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
So I think the other big thing is that we see that they connect the tunnels being connected with a hive mind kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So because I think at the end of the episode we see that as they're trying to burn the tunnel and the vines, because I think they finally reach and save Hopper, but they start to burn all the tunnels, and you see Will freak out and scream and then passes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we somehow know he's connected to these
So now we know he's-
tunnels.
Yep.
Right. The other big thing that we see is Eleven's part too. She leaves the cabin again, and that's where she runs into the house where it's her mom.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she finds the files underneath the floor that that describe where her mother is.
Yeah.
And this is after Hopper told her your mom's gone.
Yeah.
Which is not entirely inaccurate.
He didn't really explain that it was mentally gone. Just, but
Yeah.
yeah, so she finds a location and like I guess she sees like the vision of like what she went through and stuff, and see that there's another child in the room where she was at, which is interesting. But that was episode 5. And episode 6 called The Spy.
The Spy.
The Spy. Yeah, I think Will wakes up from a coma and
He's in the facility now.
yeah, they're in the lab in the facility, and he doesn't recognize Bob, Hopper, and Owen.
The doctor? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's his name.
Yeah, and so we see that he's not himself. What else happens? Talk about
Nancy and Jonathan?
Nancy. I'm trying to figure out where I'm at because there's just so much that we can cover. But no, it's actually in this episode that I wanted to talk to, which I think is funny. So that was part of the Will thing, but the other thing in this episode, in episode 5, was the relationship between Steve and Dustin starts to grow in this episode.
Yeah, that was super cute.
And it's just I thought this is one of my favorite parts of the season was like their relationship because like Dart they go back and forth where like Dart killed.
Oh yeah, let's
killed.
It's now a poly world now.
Yeah.
Quick thing here. Fuck Dustin, right? He's everyone's like, Will's like, yeah, no, I saw that thing in the upside down world. We need to get rid of it. We need to kill it. And Dustin's like, I don't know. It seems pretty
this
cool.
is like my theory on it. Is like he's so upset that Max is probably more leaning towards Lucas, that he's trying to cling on to something that he thinks loves him, and it turns out it does like love him in a sense.
True.
You know? But
at the same time,
that's
so
why
his
he's
friends that he already has.
He's so desperate to find a connection that only he has with something or somebody else. Yeah. Blah blah blah.
It was just such. I was just like, man, like you're.
Yeah,
you're crap,
I think
dude.
everyone was kind of.
I'm glad it ate his cat.
Oh my God, that was
And
pretty
then he
terrible.
tricks his mom. He's like, "Oh, they found her like 3 counties
Yeah.
over. You gotta go now."
Yeah, she's walking around somewhere.
Hell yeah, his poor mom.
I just think it's funny. Like, so I think he hides Dart, or he like throws Dart into the cellar because like he's becoming more dangerous right now that he ate the cat.
Yeah, he's a polyworld.
So he
Split place.
So he calls Steve because he has the bat with like nails in it.
Yeah.
So he's like, Steve, can you help me tame this thing? And he agrees. And it's cute because like as the relationship develops, like Steve starts to offer him like dating tips,
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's just
funny.
Great.
Steve is the ultimate ladies man.
I thought it was a great scene too because it's like in direct opposition to what Lucas's parents told him. When he asked, like, what do you do if like you did something and a girl doesn't like it, and the dad said, apologize and give her what she wants.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what if she's
I didn't
wrong?
catch on to that.
And he's like, your mother's never wrong. And she's like, and then like Steve gives like the opposite advice, like just act like you don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was funny. That it's like, it's just kind of like they're both in the same situation. They both like Max, and they both get wildly different advice.
Because at this point, what the demi dogs or whatever, they're big now. They're like pretty.
Yeah. That's something I want to talk about at the end of all this. Is like, what movies do you think took the most influence or gave the most influence into this show? Because it took other movies that the first one did like that influenced it, which I think is great. But Demoglogs is one of those things.
Because they set up this is where they go to like the trailer, the buses again, right?
Is that the next episode?
No, because the next episode is where they talk about 11 and like and sister. But in this episode, they do like the whole it's like they all get together somehow. All the kids get together at like the bus area.
They try and bait it.
Yeah, that was seen the first season too. That same area,
kind of scrapyard,
right? And then that's where like Steve's like, yeah, just pretend you don't care, and like but you can see Tyson like really doesn't care. But we learned in this episode that there is more than one of the
dog.
Yeah, more than one of them.
Okay, you can see Fairly Odd Parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know the Dimmadome. Doug's Dimmadale, owner of the Dimmadome. That's all I could think of when they're calling it like Dimmadome. So I was like, oh, Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimmadomes.
I don't remember that.
It was like this running joke that the guy who like owned all of Dimsdale was like Doug Dimmadale.
Oh,
and like
okay.
everything he owned was like the Dimmadome, like the Dimmablubba, like all his like weird companies.
Right.
So that's all I could think of when they were calling them Dimmadogs. It's like, yeah, but yeah, interesting twist there. Because when the thing first showed up, I was like, why is it in Dustin's trash can? You know, but
that's
there's more than one. There's a bunch of them, so that makes sense that he just kind of like found a random one.
Okay. Yeah, that I was gonna question that part too, but then like what you just said, I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But here's the thing: now that we have more than one of those demidogs, right?
Dimmadome.
Thank you.
It's you can't get that here now.
As we think like the kids are gonna get eaten by these things, like by the end of it, like they like all leave and start heading towards the lab.
Yep.
Where we get to like what is it? We see that like the spy, right? Where Will actually like I forgot how that led up to what the events.
Will said, "I can spy on the shadow monster. I know how to kill it. You need to go to this area."
Okay.
And basically, it was the shadow monster manipulating Will to say that, and it was a trap.
Yep.
All the little demidogs went and got sent to that room where the soldiers were, and they just annihilated the soldiers. Yeah, there's just like hundreds of them.
Yeah, so they all got eaten up and
ate up.
Yep. And so that was that episode. So now we get to episode 7.
And just real quick, the end of this episode, I just want to it's a cliffhanger because all the main characters, Will, Mike, Winona Ryder, Bob, I forget Winona Ryder's character's name. What's Joyce, Bob, Hopper, the doctor, they are all in that facility.
Yeah.
And that's where the huge attack is taking place, and like the power's going out, and like it's on lockdown, and so it ends on a huge cliffhanger.
Is that when you see the dog coming up from the hole?
Yeah, that's when Hopper's like, oh shit, and sees like the dog coming up from the hole.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of like, and then it goes into episode 7.
which goes into a whole new direction.
Yeah.
Because it's a total 11 episode. Which this episode, I didn't dislike it. I kind of thought it was kind of cool. I liked it because it did feed us. I mean, it did take us away from like the bigger thing, but I think this episode was important to like tell us what to expand on this universe in general. So we got to see that like she actually meets up with the girl who
that she kind of grew up with.
She grew up with. Her name is Callie in the show. So.
Or number 8.
Number 8, you're right.
8.
So yeah, we get to see the actual like meet up with them. They look. I think the characters kind of look funny. They're like all like 80s punk rockers stylish.
Yeah, that's where my gripes come in with this episode. Conceptually, I love the episode. 11 is going out trying to find her own way. She meets with her mother. Mm-hmm. She has psychically connects with her mother, and kind of figures out what's going on. From there, she found 8 from her mother's memories of trying to break in and rescue her, and then she goes and finds 8 in the city, and then that is when, aesthetically and thematically, it just takes such a wild turn from the normal Stranger Things, in the neighborhood, right? I mean, I remember the homes, and my mom was watching, I had those sheets, those, everything is so time period accurate. There's commercials that were on TV are playing in the episode, the cigarette brands, everything is really rooted and grounded. And then you get into the laser tag emporium with the caricatures of 80s cartoons.
You're right.
And it just feels so, they're in a dirty warehouse that has a floor you could eat off of. It's so clean. There's things that when you look at this, you're that doesn't add up. And it's just...
So they're lazy with that?
Yeah, not just lazy with that. I think they were just going for that neon 80s kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And it's just so different from... Because everything on Stranger Things was just so on point with that. that it was just glaring to me when we went to this episode. That it's like
I didn't catch on to
is
that.
these kind of like stereotypes of like. It felt like a one-off like X-Men 80s comic, which kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like that doesn't fit in with the mystery of Stranger Things for me at all. Like I again loved what the episode was about. Thought it was really necessary for Eleven and her kind of character development, but I thought it was just executed so poorly.
What are your thoughts, Matt, on this
Okay,
episode?
so I do agree that it is necessary for 11, but I don't think it was necessary for this season. Like, I think
season?
it should have been its own season. Like, in my head, like, I picture, like, a perfect season almost, like, about that kind of storyline being, like, they find out that there's other, numbers, quote unquote, and some of them are, like, actually working for the evil corporation. Like, some of them are, like, bad guys now.
Right.
And then there's some kind of, like, that are like got away and are like maybe chaotic good or whatever the hell, and I thought that would have been kind of like an interesting vibe, and like maybe there's like some of the bad ones are almost kind of like, I don't know, like priests in a sense, to where they're like trying to get the shadow monster, the mind flayer back into the real in our world or something. Like that's kind of what I was hoping.
So well, I mean, like if she had left on her little self-discovery voyage like a few episodes earlier, and it had like continued, like it was just took its time, like it gave it, what would you think about that as opposed to
I think the way that right, because it could have been done, like, would have appreciated it if like this whole arc of 11 was like set up differently, where like every episode we get a piece of like her and these characters, or whether just kind of like we got it all fed in one sitting to like, okay, like this is what it's all about, and then go to somewhere else. Like
maybe if it was fed in little pieces, maybe that would have been better.
Just like how it was presented.
But I was just, it was just way too off the rails. For me, like it was so different. I understand like it needs to be said because you made a good point. It's to help expand the universe, but at the same time, like, I don't think they needed to give us, like, that much yet. Like, I think the opening piece was enough to show there are more out there.
For sure.
Like, that's...
But, like, so instead of, like, one whole episode, like, little snippets like that.
Little snippets or not even address it at all.
Okay.
Like, they could show her leave, and then maybe the next episode she's back, but we don't know where she is. And that could be the whole start of the next season, is showing where she was potentially. Maybe that's the wrong way to go about it, but I felt like it just this season was such a straight line, and then right at that episode 7 there's just this huge divergent dip.
Well, I kind of there were definitely things that I think were necessary that we needed to see in this particular episode. Like, we get to see the motives, right? Which is like this gang that Kali set up was to kill all the people who were involved.
I don't think we need to see that because we've never been introduced to them until the very beginning of the first episode.
Well, let me finish the thought on that. Like, well, that's one motive, right? Like, maybe, like, to get revenge on everything that's been done to the kids that have been experimented on, right? But the big thing I think that again, this could have been fed to us differently, is that we know that Papa is still alive.
Well, we assume he's still alive.
But the guy...
I don't think that was a confirmation one way or the other.
You don't think so?
It's not a confirmation.
Because the guy who they run into, his name is Ray, that character claims that Papa, a.k.a. Brenner, is still alive in this particular episode.
He could be in a coma for all we know.
For sure. Like, who knows? But
he could be lying.
That is also true.
We don't know.
He said that? I thought 8 said that.
8 said... I think 8 did say...
8, because she made the illusion show up and was like, "Oh yes, 11, you've been bad."
I mean, I think that's just her trying to convince 11. But
well, yeah. Do you guys don't think that was necessary? Just to feed us those little information. So
I don't think so.
I think
that's something that could be brought up
later.
I think if anything, it should have just been a dream sequence, like a little small dream sequence that. Thinking that Papa was alive, if anything.
Okay.
I think that would have been more smooth.
Yeah, I mean, she has,
she has visions, like she transports places.
That could have easily been done, like a little Deus Ex Machina in there.
And I don't think we needed to know what Eight's group was actually doing.
No.
To be honest, like
Yeah.
we're not attached to. I'm not attached to any of those characters
For
yet.
sure.
Yeah, they're one and done. They're in the episode. Like they're interesting. They're all like unique, but I felt just a little too cartoonish and caricature to be really attached to by one episode.
And it's hard to buy into their vigilantism right now.
Right. But
Especially when half of them seem kind of insane.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. I'm gonna probably do more research on it and see like. 'Cause I know they're gonna want to do more about that, expanding the universe.
Of course they
absolutely.
are.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what this is a
Yeah,
catalyst
that
for
was-
season 3.
right.
Going to introduce 1 through 11.
Yeah, I mean that's what I felt like this whole episode was about, was just giving fuel to next season,
Yeah, prime as a
which
pump.
it just felt like a not needed insert.
Okay. So, right, and again, I could agree. Like, we don't really know if Pop is actually alive or not. Or
Yeah.
I mean, I would gamble all my money that he is alive,
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
I feel
he
like
probably is alive, but
Yeah.
this just wasn't like a.
It's, okay. Do you think it was?
I think they could have just done it differently, just as I said with the dream thing, or there could have just been one of the random news clippings they could have had like a little
Picture him in
snippet,
the
like him
background.
walking around, in the background. Like I felt like it could have been done so more subtly.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That was episode 7 for sure. It just took a whole different.
We talked the longest on the shittiest episodes.
Yeah.
Well, gotta address the issues.
Yeah. Well, the next 2 episodes are by far my favorite.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, these episode 8 and 9 were just crazy and well done. I was super excited.
These could have been a movie on their own. Like these
Yeah.
2
Really,
episodes.
honestly.
What do we get? So we actually get to see like now the Demigorgons, like the Demidogs, just
Demidog.
freaking attacking everyone and all the things that's happening there. And because of what Will did, like Joyce, one of the writer's character, like he gets sedated, so they knock him out.
Yep.
So that way the Shadow Monster can't like manipulate him anymore. What else happens? So
You know what
Yeah.
happens.
so
You know.
yeah, they finally all because I guess like in the end of episode 6, right? The group like races to the lab, so they all kind of get there at the same time. Like all the boys and then Nancy and Jonathan, they all kind of get to the lab at the same time, and they like catch up with the others. Is this great action in this? I think this is just purely action in this episode.
Pretty much.
Action and horror.
Yeah, action and
thriller.
horror, like
Yeah, for sure.
great scenes. Bob the Brain again just does his thing.
Saves the fucking day.
Yeah, and is the hero we all needed in this episode.
And not the one we deserve.
We're not- yeah.
I would say he was the only hero we had. That's how I put it.
He was. Oh my god. He was. I mean, like no hesitation. The power goes out and they need to like restart the.
There was a little bit of hesitation.
Well, they were like figuring out who should do it, and he's like, "Does anyone else here know code? No, I'm gonna do it."
Well, Hopper was like, "Well, I'm gonna do it," and then Bob was like,
And yeah, Bob.
"Okay, you don't
Hell
know
no.
shit."
Hell nah. Yeah. And so like that was good on Bob.
So, do you
Good on
think
Bob.
that was just Bob being like purely goofy Bob, or is that him trying to preemptively like kind of show he was a man to Joyce because like Hopper was in the picture now? Do you think like there was some sort of
I think he was
no,
following his own.
competition in a sense?
I don't think it was competition.
No.
I think it was following his own advice of like confronting your fears, because like he talked about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's confronting his fears and be like, I gotta step up and be a man. I'm here with like the woman I like really love, and so I want to protect. Like he was, we know that he had a good heart and he was gonna protect people he like cares about.
I think that's what it comes down to. Is he just was genuinely a good dude.
Yeah.
Like I really think that he tries to give good spirited advice to Will. He's like truly in love with Joyce.
Mm-hmm.
He is willing to help even if he doesn't know what's going on. Like the whole thing, and he's like, okay, you can let me in on what's happening.
Yeah.
When they're like doing the tunnels thing. Like I think he just was a really good guy.
Yeah.
I think
And it's not like he refused Hopper's help or anything. It wasn't like he was trying to be macho and square up with him.
I kind of felt like he was in a sense because like this is I think the first time where you see all 3 of them together: Hopper, Joyce, and
Yes.
Besides the episode 6 where they're all in the hospital together.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt something like I think. Like I understand that it is good spirited of Bob, and I'm not trying to say his character is shitty, but
Right.
it's just like I felt like he was trying to outdo Hopper in order to like show Joyce like I can also be a man off of top of just being just some lovey-dovey nerdy dude.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that theory, but
I think it's very lightly played for sure if
Yeah.
it is existing.
I would need to rewatch that, but I think there could be hints for sure. For sure. But this scene just, again, I think was probably like the best horror episode that we got in the
Yeah.
entire season. Just like by like the lights are out and Owen's guiding Bob through like the dark
That's
tunnels.
so great.
And that was just such a great setup
Left.
scene.
Stop.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like
It was great. And
what a Bob move though! Knocks over the broom.
oh my god.
Cracks him
I
all.
was just like,
oh no! Broom hits the ground. And he's like, hmm.
and then the guy's like, run.
yeah.
Run. Oh my god. And here's
My one beef. So he's like, oh, the fire suppressant system that scared them away from the stairwell. I'm only gonna turn it on in the stairwell. He could have just activated it for the whole building, and they wouldn't have done anything. The monsters.
The fire suppressant?
You remember he turns on the sprinklers,
Oh.
and they hate water.
No, they don't hate water. I thought that was just to make noise for them to go in that direction.
He needed them out of the stairwell, and he turned on the sprinklers.
I thought it was a
in the
different stairwell.
No, I think he forced them out with water.
I don't remember.
And all I was thinking was, why don't you just do that?
I could have swore it was a distraction, like it was making noise for
I'll have
him
to
to.
rewatch it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right, but
I thought they were running in like the complete opposite direction. Because I want to say he used the stairwell at that same time, so it was the complete opposite stairwell that was quote unquote making noise.
I thought he was walking through the sprinklers at one point.
I can't remember. I thought it was a noise distraction though. Because I don't think they hate water. I thought it was heat.
It was heat. Anything based off heat, and like if it was hot water, then for sure. But I don't think.
To hot water, yeah. There's no
Yeah, I don't think. I don't sprinklers. I don't think sprinklers. You're right. You're right.
I'm on fire and boiling.
That would suck
That would
balls.
suck. Yeah.
So the suppressant system comes on, just sprays boiling water over everyone who's already panicking. Oh my god!
Oh man. So he drops the freaking broom, and then like what? I think everyone's already at like the exit,
door.
the doors,
Mhm.
right? And so like, for one sense of hope, like, oh cool, Bob's gonna make it, and then just from the back just gets taken down.
What?
But he does the whole like stop and stare moment.
Yeah.
I was watching that with my, and everyone's like, "Move! Like, what are you doing?" He's just like comes out the door and he's like, made it. And he's like 10, 15, 20 yards from the exit exit. He's just gonna stroll on over. And it's like, oh wait, no, that's a push door behind me, and there was like monsters chasing me. It's like,
Oh man, and the way that I thought it was gonna happen, like he got bit once, I'm like, okay, they can still save him. Like he just got bit, like his shoulder, he could take it. But then like the other ones came and it's like, no, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. Like, cause Hopper like rushed to like try to like fight him off, but it's like,
yeah, they gave you that little sliver of hope.
they did,
Hopper
man,
was
like
gonna
they
get
did
in
it
there and
several
save him.
times.
And then it's like, oh.
Yeah.
That was by far one of the best scenes. They
But
needed to
surely
kill Bob.
They needed
When I
to-
first saw Bob, I'm like, he's gonna die.
You knew he was, and you felt bad the whole time. It's like, good dude.
Well, I didn't like. I mean, the first couple episodes, like I didn't know what to think about Bob because I thought he was, as you were saying earlier, like he was a bad guy. So I was like,
Yeah, well,
when is he gonna become a douche? But he never became a douche. But yeah, when he
Always
died, you felt bad.
Was the golden child
Yeah.
of Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
like the character that you liked needed to die though. And,
Yeah.
It was his time.
Yeah.
It was his time.
And so from
It's
there,
our time. It's our time to die.
It's our time down here. It's our time upside down.
Yeah.
And so then after that, everyone
They-
regroups and
They regroup and they take Will to like back to like the
the house.
right. They take him back to like the little cabin area, like the shed area where he first got taken from season 1, and that and like that to hide him.
Yep.
And that way
Yeah.
they don't have a sense of where. That way the
They,
shadow
they,
monster.
take him, they take him to his house.
Yeah, they take him to his house, and to like the cabin where he was first kidnapped.
And that's just the shed out back. Like
the shed, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they just blindfold
And they
him.
blindfold him and like
interrogation sequence.
interrogation sequence, and like they
Tortured
were,
their own kid.
well in
They
that,
just
that
shine a light in his eyes. They didn't torture him.
so in that episode, right, in this episode, I think they just kind of like they figure out that Will can communicate, and it was Morse code.
Yeah.
And so the big thing that he communicates is like close the gate, close gate. So we realized that like okay, that's the big thing. What happens? Like I think that
So the phone rings, and then Will knows where he is
Because
and
he
now
knows the phone,
Yeah,
the
recognizes
distinctive
the
the
ring.
phone.
oh right. And so they're like now they're in the house and like oh shit, we
So
know
they
what
all
to like.
drive away or they put
No,
him
they
back
all
to sleep.
they all huddle up.
They all
in the
huddle
house
up to
with guns.
Yeah,
As it has the like demogorgons or demodog, the demodog,
Demodog.
as they like crowd around the house, and then they just hear like
and then you just
like
fucking see one thing just fly through the window, and
Yeah.
then 11 walks in like, "What's up, guys?
Because
I'm
I'm
here."
badass.
she walked in and she goes, bitchin'.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure she's gonna open the door and be like, ah, and like shoot her, and like, oh no, and, like that's the end, season 2.
So yeah, 11 comes
Yeah.
and saves them.
Yep, and then emotional reunion.
What's Mike?
She fucking blows off Max again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just walks past. But that was funny.
So yeah, and in the last episode, they have to all head back to like the lab. I think it's just Hopper and 11 who end up going to like the lab, right? Anyone
Yeah,
else?
they split into 3 groups.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy, Jonathan, Will, and Joyce go to the cabin that 11 was kept in to try and sweat the monster out of
Will. That
out of
was
Will.
that was a torturous scene.
That
where,
was a
like,
torture scene. Yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm like Will can act, and like I don't even know how much like emotional strength he put on himself just like to go through that.
That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And then Hopper and 11 go to the facility to try and close the hole and get through all the demodogs. And all the kids, Lucas, Max, Dustin, and Mike,
Yeah, Mike.
yeah, stay with Steve, the babysitter.
Yeah, he became the babysitter. That was awesome.
Yeah, at Will's place.
Right.
And then that's when asshole McGee Billy shows up.
Oh yeah,
and they fight, and
he beats the shit out of him.
Steve should be dead. Like that was way too much head trauma for somebody to take. And Max comes in with the syringe that was used to like sedate Will, stabs him right in the neck, and then like almost chops his nuts off with the spiked bat.
Yep.
He's like, leave my
Yep.
fucking friends alone.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of learned there like more of the relationship because we saw the dad at that point.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
the
dad.
the
The
relationship,
abusive
the
dad.
dad.
And the very passive mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's his dad and it's Max's
It's
mom.
Max's mom. Mm-hmm.
And they're not like biologically related.
Right. But that was super. His dad was super scary, so we could tell
Yeah.
like why he's messed up in that sense. But yeah, yeah, that was really intense.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that I think happens, what happens next? Like they,
I forgot. Billy flirts with Mike's mom.
Yeah.
Mike and Nancy's
Oh,
mom.
I actually love that
Hilarious.
scene.
It's
that was
funny.
great.
Oh, I didn't know Nancy had a sister.
Yeah.
Stop.
I
She's
honestly,
upstairs,
like
reading
even
her
though
mom,
he's a
but-
douchebag, I kind of hope they get together at some point. Cause
The
like,
mom and Billy?
Because the dad is just so worthless.
The dad- oh
he
my
is the
God.
most worthless character.
He totally don't run in the house.
He's the dad who's always sleeping on the sofa. Like,
Honey, where are our kids?
yeah, exactly.
It's like
He has
there's actually a
no
scene,
idea.
right? It's like yeah, the kids they're out. They're not here. Like
Yeah.
they didn't even like show
He
care.
just does not.
Well, I guess our kids don't live.
All he does
Yeah,
is
yeah,
just all he does is just work and provide for the family, but just
That's
he
it.
just
Checked
he doesn't
out.
care about his family.
Nancy actually talks about that at some point. She talked about how her mom just married her dad for financial
Like, and that's kind of why
financial
she doesn't want to be
security.
with Steve in a sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Steve's kind of like
We
this
never
safe
talked
pick and
about
stuff. Them
bringing
boning?
well, the whole scene where they bring the recording to the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, that wasn't important enough though. So
Well, I mean, whatever. They bring it to the conspiracy theorist. They decide to water down the truth to be like something more believable, because like opening up a dimension and letting a monster through that killed Barb, not easily digestible by the public.
Yeah.
And then this dude was hilarious. This has got to be one of my favorite characters from the season. And he just reads them like a book and just leaves them their soul to bear. Like, I don't know. Like you tell me if I'm wrong. He's just such like a little turd about it. It's so funny. And then Nancy and Jonathan finally tell each other their feelings.
Make babies
and
stuff.
boom.
Yeah,
And,
there's a little bit of a hookup
And there's
there.
hilarious innuendo at breakfast.
Oh yeah.
I forgot. What was it?
He asks him how was the pullout,
Yeah.
Oh,
and he's like, "What?" And he's like,
Legit.
The couch. How was it? And he's just smirking away, having his vodka soda with breakfast.
what was it?
I'd be happy to have teenagers bone in my house too.
So I think at this point now, like, oh my god. What do you guys feel about it? Were you guys glad that they like got together?
Yeah, I thought they were like I
I
thought
mean,
they
that's
were in
what the
first
giant
season.
like sexual tension was coming from, right? Was them two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I feel kind of bad for Steve.
I did too. I did
Steve.
too.
Steve can handle himself.
Yeah, he can get any girl he wants, but there'll definitely be some drama around them three in the next season, though, for sure.
For sure.
I think, and then back to the episode. At this
Yeah,
point,
yes.
like, I think Steve, Dustin, Lucas, and I think Max, they're like going to burn the tunnel. They're like, okay, we need to burn this whole
Well, yeah,
down.
Max drives the car while Steve
Oh
is
yeah,
unconscious
yeah.
from getting the shit kicked out of him.
And then I feel like I almost thought they were gonna kill off Steve at that time in the tunnel.
I
too.
wouldn't be surprised if either Steve or, the older brother, I forget. Jonathan. I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually one of them eventually ends up dying, sacrificing themselves
yeah.
or something.
And I thought
I-
that was gonna happen with Steve in this episode because like the dogs like were coming again. To,
Yeah,
like,
what I thought
he
as
didn't
well.
look good for Steve.
yeah.
But it was a good plan. They diverted all the dogs from 11 initially before she tried to close up the portal.
Right. Man, that was crazy. I just love the fact again that like Dustin's the one that like Dustin kind of like fed and stuff. Like they ran into that
Dart.
one. Yeah, Dart came back.
That was goofy.
That
I
was-
liked
yeah.
it, but it was goofy
That was
though.
definitely goofy.
Yeah, and then they were 11 and Harper were able to close the gate, and then we get a nice little ending scene with the dance. What do you guys think of the
The
dance?
snowball?
The snowball.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, the snowball.
Dustin crying his eyes out.
That
on
was
the
great.
sideline.
Dude, the Steve and Dustin relationship, I just loved it.
The hairspray and all that
So
stuff.
funny.
Oh, and like how heartbreaking but cute. Like he like was fearless. He like kept going to like each girl like want to dance.
Yeah, you think he's
and
like
yeah,
totally okay with rejection just because of how he's like, "Whew, all right, next try."
you're right.
And then he's crying. He's crying.
And then he gets the hottest gal in the room.
Nancy.
Yeah, and then Nancy comes and like dances with him. That was.
And then all the
cute.
girls are like,
Like what? And I'm like, my man. I don't know. But that was really cute. I like Nancy. That was super cool of Nancy to be like, I'm gonna dance with this guy. Like,
Nancy's
yeah.
Nancy's a cool cat.
Yeah. And then because now we actually have like the love interest like
And then 11.
11 and Mike, and then Lucas and
Max.
Oh, Lucas and Max.
And then
yeah.
Will and some random gal. He
Will's-
always gets the last pick.
Will's
But-
rando.
No, but you know what's funny? Like I loved how they switched it on Will. Like a girl went up to him to ask him to dance
Yeah.
and everything. So that was really cool. So I think everyone got their justice in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Will gets routinely shit on in the show,
Yeah.
so it was nice for him to catch a break in the last episode.
It was a cute scene. Yeah. So I mean, as we finish this segment, like, what do you guys think season 3 is gonna bring on, or
Oh,
anything?
definitely X-Men powers,
X-Men
like Drew
powers.
was saying.
Yeah, the Justice League's gonna get together. And,
The Mind Flayer is still out there.
yeah,
I
and-
think
and
we'll
Angry
see a
now.
more, maybe not necessarily next season, but I think at some point we'll see a more concrete form of what it looks like. It won't be just a shadow monster, it'll be like a fully formed giant Demogorgon or something like that.
I think it is just smoke.
You think it is just
Yeah,
smoke?
I
I have a
Maybe when it
feeling.
comes to our world.
Yeah, like I think it'll get more of a natural form
Like a
once it
physical-
passes over.
Again, I
That'd
feel
be
like
interesting.
this has like again because it's like this because Stranger Things in general has like this very like Stephen King / like Cthulhu kind of thing.
Yeah,
like you're like we're not supposed to like fully comprehend everything about these things, which is what I
Yeah,
really
I'm-
like about
I'm really
Stranger
hoping they
Things.
just go full kind of Lovecraftian
Yeah,
with it in the next season. Just unknown horrors,
Yeah,
and invisible eldritch.
I'm a fan of more of like the unknown because I feel like that's the true horror. Like we fear like what we don't know is gonna happen in the unknown. So it's like
Yeah.
I think it's a cool way to go about it. But
The mystery. I mean, that's what I love about the first season was the mystery.
Yeah.
yeah,
They
the unknown.
They did the mystery really well. for sure.
Interdimensional being that's like what's going on, and there's the corporation that's high. Like that was awesome, and like I said in the beginning of this, the mystery lied in diving into this upside down world and understanding what it was and how it was affecting this world.
Right.
So a little less of like conceptual mystery and more of like practical mystery. You know what I mean by that?
Right.
So
Yeah. I feel like, and I think what I've heard in some interviews is that they're going to try to do up to 5 seasons for Stranger Things.
Cool.
wow.
So-
Okay.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, it looks like they have like an idea of like a story that they want to plan out.
For
so.
sure.
And hopefully they can keep the whole same cast for the whole thing.
Oh, I don't see how they could do it without. I mean,
but age is gonna be a thing, so it's gonna.
well, I think it's a natural progression as they age. You know.
Sure, but that means like every season they're gonna have to do like a 2-year time gap almost in a sense. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see where it goes. Because there's definitely, like, again, because we got that 7th episode of, like, Eleven's whole thing with, like, X-Men powers or
And
whatever.
a lot of these kids are starting to get movie deals, so they might just. I mean, I doubt it, but they could eventually end up getting a better deal than what Stranger Things is paying them.
But for
Finn
example,
Wolfhard's
like this is
blowing
where
up,
like
man.
if we're talking about politics and like contracts, like they'll they could be like Netflix can be like, hey, like we want you contracted here for 3 more years and
Yeah,
sign.
dude, Netflix has such buying power.
Yeah.
There's no way. That
Yeah. So I mean,
Someone's gonna pay
they
better
might
than
stay
Netflix.
contract wise. They might stay with it, and then after that, they can go their own way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it all depends on like the contract that these kids are signing.
Yeah.
But back to like the story and like, so you wanted to touch more like on the creature.
Yeah, so the demo dogs.
You.
Yeah.
I don't think so. This is the one movie I don't think anyone's really addressed how that it like this took inspiration from, which was Tremors.
Tremors.
Like, because the first
You're totally right.
the first movie is all about the one giant, like this semi-giant creature, right? And that's what the first movie is about, like a giant, slug that kind of tunnels its way. And then the second movie in Tremors, it's all about the little babies, but they're like they can walk on their legs and they walk on ground and stuff. And I told it was like they're demo dogs, like they
Okay.
totally are. So like
Okay.
Tremors, they keep on evolving into like different creatures and I love Tremors. Like that's one of my favorite creature features. But
Tremors is such a good movie.
yeah.
Did you know they use it in as an example in cinematography of one of like the perfect? It's like a perfect example of moving the plot forward.
Oh really?
There's something about in Tremors 1, like almost every bit of dialogue is moving it forward.
Interesting.
Like,
now you
there's-
want to see it.
There's
Have you not seen Tremors?
No, I've not seen Tremors.
You should literally just start listening to me about the movies I want you to watch and watch them. That's step number
Yeah,
one.
dude.
Andy.
Well, okay, again with
Like-
Tremors, I think I saw certain
Yeah.
parts and it freaked me out. Like
Yeah,
so,
Tremors has
You're young.
scared a lot of people
Yeah.
when they were younger.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
God,
great.
talk about the floor is lava. Like that's like.
Well, that's what freaked me out because I think there was one guy was literally outside the window talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden he's getting freaking eaten,
Yep.
and that freaked me out. So like the vivid memories I have. So like I guess I should say that I should revisit it to see like
And
what.
then like I got really reminded of Aliens when they had that tracker and you see the dots of the demo dogs
yeah.
moving. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
totally Aliens. Like, oh god. You guys have any movies that are coming to mind? Like, because it goes off of so many.
Aliens was my big one.
Aliens
with,
is your big-
Aliens with the trackers. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Is
just
it, it's Alien 2 or is it Aliens?
It's Alien 2. Yeah, Alien 2.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, I guess that one's called Aliens. If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's it for it. Yeah.
I just like the kids group dynamics, which reminds me of like the other like classic movies like Stand by Me, Goonies.
It's such like a classic.
But I think
like,
it was less Stand By Me and less Goonies this time. Like it was more E.T. in a sense where Dustin was trying to hide the demo dog.
Right,
like it's basing it off of different movies this time. I would argue that the first one is like Stand By Me ish, whereas this one whereas like E.T. and God, I know there's another kids movie that I'm not really remembering right now.
I mean, It was also
Yes, it was definitely an inspiration on this
definitely
one.
like
Yeah.
Super 8.
Yeah,
Super 8
Super
is
8,
good.
but that, I mean that's like ET though. In a
that
sense.
is yeah, that's true.
I mean,
It was one alien.
The alien was the antagonist.
I would argue that it's pretty much ET.
Buff ET.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say it is definitely one off of this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, gosh, there's some other movies that I'm not hitting. I know I read like a list of like the inspirations, but I'm like, no one's mentioning Trevor's on this list, and like all I see is Trevor's. It's just like,
Like I don't think I would have put that together without you saying it, but you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is 100% Tremors.
and I think you're right. I think X-Men had some influence on this one, like the '80s style X-Men.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. You look at like characters like Jubilee
Yeah.
and like all those like kind of gritty mid '80s X-Men, and that's what 8's team looked like.
Yeah.
Collier's team looked like.
Right.
It was like exactly that.
Yeah. I don't know. This show looks like it's a lot of fun to make. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of why like it makes me. That's why I'm a big fan because like you could just like you could feel like the energy of the show is good. Like I'm sold. I'm trying to figure out like what other shows have good energy. Like Parks and Rec is a show that I would say have, and like The Office are shows that like, had like this amazing energy to them where like the cast like was all in it and was fun. So again, was like these group of kids like they were like you could just see that they were having fun making this the show, and like that's just great to see and see them be a part of. But yeah, so I can't wait to see what they bring on. Any final thoughts or?
I mean, I have final thoughts for sure. If it weren't for the last 2 episodes, I probably wouldn't have nearly have liked this season as much as I did.
For sure.
Because the first, even though I liked the first episodes, it was really dry compared to the first season, and as Drew said, like the mystery was by far the best part, and as I was saying earlier, like the group, it felt like a group dynamic in the first season, where this season was more about just figuring out who the rest of the kids were, in a sense, like more about them.
Yeah.
I understand that they did like form a group every now and then, but it was you saw like their individual like problems and
Right.
like their situations and stuff like
They're more
that.
of a
And Mike is
spotlight.
just kind of like a whiny lovesick kid the whole time. So it was kind of like a little annoying, but like the last 2 episodes though were just so
Yeah.
like
So good.
so good, like so much drama, so much action.
Suspense,
Yeah, like it's just like everything was poured into that, and that's perfectly fine because the other episodes were good enough to like lead. But I mean, if it weren't for the last 2 episodes, I would have given this like an 80%.
Right.
But I probably give it like a 90%
Okay.
with the last 2 episodes being there, like a low A. I think that for Stranger Things is like close to an A+.
Right.
It's like it would have an A+ if it just had like better special effects, like it's so close to being amazing.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
I guess those are my final thoughts
Yeah.
on
What
it.
about you, Jared?
I kind of left it all on the court. Very happy with the season overall. Episode 7 was conceptually sound, but kind of a bummer for me.
Yeah.
And the last 2 episodes, action packed and really kind of stepped up the horror of it, which I loved. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Cool. Yeah, I had fun with this one as well. Definitely had some of its flaws, but what's like, or like the controversy with episode 7, but I still think I was fine with it. I don't know. But I think the whole, in general, like I think it stayed strong from the first season too. I would agree that the first season was more fun in a sense of like the mystery.
Oh yeah.
But because we knew these characters, we kind of had a feeling of knowing what to expect. You know, like we all knew like that Dustin was like the goofy one and whatnot, and like so. I think that might have like not taken away from like the enjoyment from season 2, but you know, might not have been as exciting, you know, because it wasn't like our first time getting to know these characters and seeing what's going on. But yeah, I think it's still a very strong show, and I'm excited to see what they bring to the next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our review for Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah.
Again, this is I Want to Talk Movies. I'm Andy.
I'm Strange as Patrick.
And I'm Stranger Drew.
I guess this is just a strange world. But hopefully subscribe to us if you like us. Comment to us. You could always reach out to us at iwanttotalkmovies@gmail.com. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.